A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our special live coverage of the landmark visit to Kuwait of the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. His Majesty King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud today started his first official visit to the state of Kuwait since his ascension to power as King of Saudi Arabia in January of 2015. The three-day official visit comes after King Salman attended the 37th session of the GCC Supreme Council, which was held in the Bahraini capital, Manama. Another important summit took place on the sidelines of the GCC summit between the United Kingdom and the GCC states with the participation of British Prime Minister Theresa May. We will continue with our live coverage of today's visit of His Majesty the King, but before we do so, we would like to welcome to our program this evening our distinguished guest, Director of Kuwait Gulf Group, His Excellency Mr. Mustapha Behbehani. A very warm welcome to you and thank you for answering our call.
Thank you very much for having me.
We will continue our discussion with Dr. Mustapha, but we have first this short report on the occasion of His Majesty's visit to the state of Kuwait. Stay tuned.
The custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, arrived in Kuwait today on a three-day official visit. This is the first official visit of the Saudi king to the state of Kuwait since he accessed power in January 2015. During his visit, King Salman bin Abdulaziz will hold talks with His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah on means of boosting the distinguished ties linking both countries and ways of supporting the GCC countries' mutual goals and interests to fulfill the aspiration of the Gulf people. In addition, the two leaders will touch on the current regional and international issues of common interest as well as the latest regional and international development. Prior to his visit to the country, the Saudi king began a Gulf tour aimed at strengthening relations with four neighboring Gulf allies, as the tour started with the United Arab Emirates or the UAE, followed by stops in Qatar, Bahrain, and finally the state of Kuwait. King Salman held wide-range talks with high-ranking officials from the UAE and Qatar to review relations and ways of enhancing them in all fields and also discussed regional and international issues of common interests. In Bahrain, the custodian of the two holy mosques chaired the Saudi delegation to the 37th summit of the Gulf Cooperation Council states held in the capital, Manama. The visit came in response to an invitation by His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa of the Kingdom of Bahrain. Leaders of the six-nation GCC held their high-profile summit to address critical regional conditions that have prompted the Gulf nation to further boost their cooperation to ensure peace and security in the Middle East region. On the sideline of the two-day summit, British Prime Minister Theresa May held meetings with GCC leaders where they discussed the UK-GCC partnership in several areas, including security and economy. Moreover, the GCC leaders tackled their latest development in Syria, Yemen, Iraq, and Palestine, as well as the security situation and economic challenges in the region. Following the summit, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud headed to Kuwait to start his official three-day visit, which came to further consolidate the deep-rooted relations linking the brotherly countries. The Kuwaiti and the Saudi people share the same values and morals, as there are many inherited cultures and traditions rooted in the two societies. Relations between Saudi Arabia and Kuwait are witnessing their brightest era under the wise guidance of their leadership, as they were based on the fundamentals of the two countries being an integral part of the Gulf region and the Arab and the Islamic world. Cooperation between Kuwait and Saudi Arabia is based on brotherhood and joint faith, and its objective that included rejection of extremism and terrorism and upholding the right of the Islamic approach with commitment to international laws and norms and contributing to peace and love around the world.
Welcome back to our special live program on the occasion of the state visit of His Majesty King Salman bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to the state of Kuwait. Again, we would like to welcome to our program our distinguished guest for the evening, Dr. Mustapha Behbehani, who is the director of Kuwait Gulf Group. Dr. Behbehani, let's start with maybe a common, maybe a repeated question, but I think here in this, on this occasion it's very important to discuss. How would you describe the importance of the King's visit to the state of Kuwait?
It is very important in this period because of all the activities in the Middle East, from the economic crisis to the Daesh, which is now under control, and all countries in the world try to get this cancer, which is destroying.
Good description.
Yes. All the development, and so they are all united, but basically the Gulf countries are hit by this. So to have this kind of level of consultation, very high level, is very important between His Majesty King Salman bin Abdul Aziz and our Emir, which is always steps up and make mediation and solve the problem, since he's been having a diplomatic negotiation for a long time. So this is very important visit for both countries and the GCC.
Dr. Mustapha, the state of Kuwait and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia have always shared deep-rooted relations. Would you please further elaborate on the history of the Kuwait-Saudi Arabia relations?
It goes in the modern age more than 100 years with the establishment of the kingdom, where the King Abdul Aziz started from Kuwait with the help at that time and preparing his military, and took over Riyadh. So
this is
he was
when
yes.
are we talking about? This is in the 20s and the 30s or before?
Yes, about a century ago.
100 years ago.
Yes, and so started the establishment of the Saudi kingdom. So the Kuwaitis have known the family from Kuwait, and they welcome him. And after that, there were the force which helped liberate Kuwait. Everybody knows,
of course,
that after invasion, many Kuwaitis
lived in Saudi Arabia.
And because of their help and the base, the liberation started from there.
Right.
So it goes a long way.
Not only was it that Kuwaitis lived there, there was a lot of support for Kuwaiti citizens. All their needs were met.
Yes, whatever they needed. So we have a strong relation between the ruling families, the government, and the people.
Dr. Mustafa, both countries are strong allies. Given their common stances, there are a lot of common stances and views between the two countries. What would this add in this stage, in His Majesty's visit
Yes,
to Kuwait?
you know, because of my specialty, I did my doctoral degree on GCC, regional economic integration. This also a very important aspect. The economic aspect now started the formation of the GCC in the 80s, and now it has developed for the betterment of the citizenship. So I think the Kuwaitis and Saudi, they want to see more economic ties and integration.
Between the GCC countries.
Yes.
What do you think are the most significant topics that were discussed, that were on the agenda of this summit in Bahrain?
I think is the security, especially what's happening in Syria and Iraq, and the terrorist group, you know, as you said, Al-Daesh, which had destroyed both countries, and the lawlessness, and also the conflict between the two powers, the United States and Russia, has to be solved. And then from the economic side aspect is the collapse of the oil.
The prices of oil.
Yes, it's gone at the beginning less to 1/3, reached less than 30. Now it's coming up to 55.
After the last deal.
Yeah, the deal they had between Saudi Arabia and Iran in the OPEC and outside the OPEC with Russia. So if this holds, maybe we can reach to equilibrium at 65, but this will not solve the problem in the long term, because we have to diversify the economy. And the now second problem is the budget, which I think you saw in the election. The citizens are not convinced that, for instance, they will have economic hardship. So this is a big issue concerning the citizens.
Dr. Mustafa, speaking about alternative sources of income other than oil, some of the GCC countries have done well in tourism. As you know, the United Arab Emirates, it's a world-class tourist destination, and all the power to them. They're now not just competing on the GCC and Arab level, at the world level.
You say it internationally.
Exactly.
Yes.
What do we have to do to reach or maybe learn from our brothers in the UAE, Qatar as well, Bahrain, Oman?
Yes, all the citizens are saying that. Well, basically, first is the infrastructure, roads, and the airport is already, you know, we don't have international airport, and for instance, we don't have the railroads. We are beyond on this, so we have to connect with the GCC. You cannot have one or two countries advancing and then we are behind. So first we have to, between the GCC, we have to connect equally. as we said, how can we not have railroads and Saudi Arabia have railroads? And also Dubai. So we are behind in this infrastructures, airports. We are behind.
Hotels,
also the
buildings.
Yes, the university. University, we were first country were even helping that time. We are behind. So development has to be even. That's a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have to complete each other. So the development has to be even. Then we open between ourselves. There is not really good trading between the countries.
Between the GCC countries.
Yes.
We are lagging behind in this.
We are lagging, and we have to open the traveling between. You said about tourism. We can start with the citizen themselves.
Doctor, correct me if I'm wrong. From what I understand is our income from tourism is around 1.5% of gross domestic product. I may be wrong.
Yeah,
this
but
is very low.
Yes, it is low if you consider the Dubai, for instance, the city.
Correct.
You see, we are not even maybe 10-20% only to the city. What city?
Mm-hmm.
Dubai. Also, we are beyond with Qatar. As I said, take our airlines. You know, we have just now new airlines.
Yes,
we're losing the income from traveling.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Kuwaitis use other airline.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so this one area. When I'm talking is we have to get this development to all the GCC, not in one place. For instance, we can have joint companies. Why not? You know, bigger banking.
Investment projects. And is that what you mean?
Yeah,
joint investment projects.
Joint, yes. We have the capital and also as in Dubai and Qatar, the private sector is active.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we are behind
Yes.
in the private sector.
As well as Bahrain, I think, in my opinion.
Yes. Now we have the mega fund for small business.
Yes.
So we can also work with them. We have women entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
So everything is there. We just have to implement, and also I think just making a plan is not enough, because we need economic council.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think Saudi Arabia now is emphasizing in the last summit to activate the economic aspect.
Doctor, you mentioned railroad.
Yes.
There was talk about a railroad system that should connect all GCC countries. This is kind of, the idea is lagging behind. There was also another idea which seemed to be excellent, especially after what we saw happening in Europe with the European Union and the European Common Currency, the euro. There was talk about having a GCC currency. Where are we now with this? Is this being discussed seriously in the GCC?
No, I think we are behind, because you have to give a project to the experts. In the economy, you have to have local experts, and they have also the authority to implement. I think that because of the difficult situation, we're concentrating more on security and politics. That's good, but we are ignoring the aspect of the economy. I think should be a independent council for economic issue has the authority to start. This was the first aim of the GCC. I hope that now the leaders will permit the private sector and the expert to implement, because we're talking about another source of income. There is no way the GCC can depend, some countries 60 to 90%. So you cannot depend on oil. And so we have to have other sources, which is, as I said, with integration.
Doctor, we will continue our discussion, our important discussion on the visit of His Majesty King Salman to Kuwait, but we have the special report on the occasion. Let's watch.
The Gulf Cooperation Council leaders, or the GCC leaders, met in Manama, Bahrain for their 37th summit amid drastic political and security conditions dictated by the conflicts and cries sweeping the entire region. The summit addressed numerous issues and topics in the light of the growing challenges that impact the bloc. Amid such dire conditions, the leaders concluded a unified vision to face the escalating regional developments, motivated by the unwavering belief in common destiny and keenness on maintaining the interest of the nations and the people of the region. Together with the latest development on the regional and international scenes, the GCC leaders also addressed further consolidating the march of the bloc, as well as the joint GCC cooperation in all fields, embodying the historic ties among the member states and their people. Meanwhile, the GCC foreign minister held a preparatory meeting for the summit in Manama in November, where they discussed the political and security developments on the regional and international scenes, including Syria, Iraq, Libya, Yemen, and the international anti-terror efforts. On the security level, the GCC states are exerting unrelenting efforts to counter acts of terror and have also adopted strategies and plans to combat the IS group. The ongoing political and military changes in some of the countries of the region, like Yemen, Syria, and Iraq, have come to impose insurmountable challenges for the GCC, added to the Palestinian case that has always been on the agenda of the bloc's summit. The GCC members support peaceful solutions and dialogue among the warring parties of Yemen to end the crisis and stop further bloodshed in the brotherly country. On the political level, the summit came in the wake of the U.S. presidential election that saw Donald Trump being elected to lead the country for 4 years to come once inauguration takes place in January. Thus, the future of the GCC-U.S. ties features high on the summit's agenda, with new administrations that will soon take over, and also in the aftermath of the Justice Against Sponsors of Terrorism Act, or the JUSTA, recently passed by the U.S. Congress, facing Gulf and international rejections. Thanks to the leaders' wisdom and deep political experience, the GCC was able to survive a multitude of security and economic threats. Security has always been a major issue of cooperation among the member states over the past years, and remarkable achievements have been made in this regard since the GCC was established in 1981.
Welcome back to our live program on the occasion of the state visit by His Majesty King Salman of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We are joined by Dr. Mustapha Behbahani. Dr. Mustapha, we continue with the program. There is no doubt that the world is witnessing enormous developments and changes that are taking place quickly and suddenly, sometimes without warning, on the security, political, and economic scenes, a matter that prompted the GCC states to close ranks and unify stances to address the ongoing challenges, to become ready and to deter or face any threats in their path. One of the issues that was discussed during, or at least was mentioned in His Highness the Emir's speech at the summit was the issue of Iran. And as we all know, His Highness the Emir is the best mediator around. Can you discuss this issue and how important it is to the summit?
Yes, I think security for DC is very important. We're surrounded by many conflicts and wars, and the decision I think is very wise to give our Amir, the leader of humanity, the authority to negotiate with Iran. I think this is a characteristic of our rulers. I used to work in the palace with Sheikh Sabah Salim, and he played a role at that time solving the Bahraini problem. He said that himself. I think we have to play this role. The Emir is capable. He been solving many of the problems. So this issue of the security of GCC and citizen is very important at this stage, and so he's the best leader to try to solve this very important issue.
Dr. Mustapha, what is the impact of the recently held GCC summit on the visit of the Saudi monarch to Kuwait? What do you think the impact of the summit had on his visit? On
well,
some of
as
the
I
issues?
said, the impact is, of course, the security of the GCC.
This is one of the main topics.
Yeah, the main important topic. Second one, also, Saudi Arabia are very fast in reforming their economy, and since His Majesty King Salman came, we have seen a lot of initiative in the private sector, like privatization of Aramco, also a lot of economic issue. I think we should also do like what Saudis are doing to their economy, and so as I said now, security and also the economy. There is no way, as I said, we can go on with this all the privileges for the citizen without reforming our economy.
Should our citizens prepare for hard times ahead? Maybe taxes. I mean, this is it has to happen sooner or later.
It's difficult. You've seen the result of we have a free election. It's not easy issue. Saudi Arabia can do it faster. We are slower
because of
it
our
depends
democracy.
on our new National Assembly,
which will be meeting very soon.
That's right. So this is one of the important topic now. And I don't blame the citizen because they went through, we said before, the crisis, you know, the recent crisis of the collapse of the banking system worldwide. So most of the world now is still trying to recover, even in Europe, even in America. You see the result of the election. So as I said, the economy is the blood of nations.
Of course. Dr. Mustapha, let's talk a little bit about the timing of the summit. You know, USA has a new president who is, you know, his way of thinking is different from any US president in history.
Yes.
We are also seeing now France will have an election next year. Also, Britain has decided to exit the European Union, as we know the term Brexit. The region in general is facing a lot of turmoil as well. The issue in Yemen, Syria, Lebanon, Iran, Iraq. So the timing of the summit comes at a very crucial time. Let's talk a little bit about the timing of it.
Yes, I think it is, as we said, we have a local event in Kuwait with the election, new government, also regionally, as you said, we have wars that is destroying the people and the economy. And then on top of that, we have also our allies in the West, Europe and United States especially, also they are having some governments who are not really friendly, so they're passing laws trying to get more money from us, you know, for not really real issues. So it could affect our funds and investment abroad. Also, there is a big campaign against the Muslim in general. They blame the Muslim for this terrorism, which is not really the fault. So that's why we have to unite first. Second, we have to negotiate and be good negotiator. Even Trump, you know, he said many things against Japan, for instance. Suddenly, he said all Japanese are investing, they are welcome. So we have to unite and be able to negotiate to get the best deal.
Dr. Mustapha, of course, as you know, as we mentioned earlier, the United Kingdom's Prime Minister met with the GCC leaders and they had their own summit. In fact, one of the statements that she made in her speech was that Gulf security is Britain's security. Can we elaborate more on this? And then we will also talk about our relationship between us and Britain.
Yeah, right. Traditionally, you know, the British Empire was the last empire who survived and who had the security of the region. We have seen it many times. I remember from time Abdul Karim Qasim threat, also Sumter 73, and then the invasion. So Britain were with us and the Gulf. So this historical ties are there. Plus, I think they need our investment after their exit
Brexit.
from, yes, they exited from the European common market. And who doesn't know that all Kuwaitis are going on holidays to London and, you know, buying flats and living there. So we have very strong ties, military and economically and tourism. But also Great Britain now, since they're exiting from Europe, they want to have also a market for their products. So they said they're going to invest billions in the GCC, which is the first time. They will put their money, but they will help their industry, the military industry. So it's benefit for both sides.
Doctor, we'll talk a little bit more about UK GCC relations, but we have again a third report on the occasion of His Majesty's visit to the state of Kuwait. Let's watch this report.
His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah said the GCC summit comes amid rapid international changes and critical conditions that necessitate continuing consultations and joint coordination to consider and preclude relevant reflections on the GCC countries. Addressing the 37th GCC summit held in the Bahraini capital Manama, His Highness the Emir said that the region is currently faced with grave challenges where on the economic front, dwindling oil prices are a major concern. His Highness the Emir also added that there needs to be a shift in national ideologies together with fresh cooperation fields in order to cope with these challenges. His Highness the Emir spoke of notable achievements brought about by joint GCC work, which includes economic gains that represent the aspirations of the GCC citizens. His Highness also highlighted the need for increased strategies to bolster GCC cooperation in efforts to amass further accomplishments that will reinforce solidarity among the Gulf nations. Moreover, on the scourge of terrorism, His Highness the Emir said that it poses a threat to regional security and stability, which calls for concerted efforts to eliminate this mounting threat. On Yemen, His Highness the Emir recounted that the state of Kuwait had hosted peace talks that aimed to restore peace in the war-torn nation, lamenting that the warring parties failed to reconcile, which induced further bloodshed. On Syria, His Highness the Emir said that the GCC grieves with the people of Syria, underscoring firm support of a political solution to a conflict that has remained unabated. Speaking on developments in Iraq, His Highness the Emir expressed satisfaction over the progress made in the fight against the IS group, as he wished the country a prosperous and bright future. Moving on to the Palestinian conflict, His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed regretted that efforts to establish peace remained at impasse, noting that the international community is preoccupied with other issues. Meanwhile, speaking on ties with Iran, His Highness the Emir stated there needs to be constructive dialogue between the GCC and the Islamic Republic, noting that the talks should center on abidance by international law, including sovereign rights.
يا
Welcome back to our live coverage of the state visit of His Majesty King Salman to the state of Kuwait. Again, we are joined by Dr. Mustapha Behbahani. Dr. Mustapha, we last talked about the GCC-UK relations. You mentioned the Kuwait Fund. They have a big investment, a big fund, investment fund with the UK. But it's not only that. It's many GCC nationals who invest in the UK, even buying teams, football teams, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
This relation is very important, and this is maybe one of our security measures is guaranteed by this relation. Can you elaborate on this?
Yes, I think, as you said, even the clubs now, I mean, the Chinese are buying, we can buy. We have also to take care of the youth, and because we are under boycott, I think this is a big issue we have to solve. Maybe we can do it with Britain through buying some clubs. Qatar is doing it, Emirat is doing. The other issue also, Qatar bought department stores, some companies. So there is opportunity now for investment. But I think also a lot of Kuwaitis are concerned about the tax system. So as I said, negotiation important. We should be able to get some deals on the taxing.
The British taxing of investments?
Yes.
Okay.
There is high taxing, for instance, on property. So we should not just, give everything without getting something back.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Britain now needs the GCC and citizen. So it's time to negotiate and get some better terms.
More benefits.
Yes.
Dr. Mustapha, the state of Kuwait has been a major contributor and vital supporter of the GCC joint work under the wise leadership of His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah, whose efforts were largely effective in strengthening the Gulf relations. Out of his keenness on unity of the GCC as an organization, His Highness the Emir made numerous initiatives and took several actions designed to promote the GCC ties and boost mutual cooperation among its member states. How would you describe the contributions made by the state of Kuwait under the leadership, the wise leadership of His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah?
Yes, I think we call for the establishment of the GCC, and we continue supporting the GCC despite everything. So, as I said, our leader is being very active in handling problems. There were even before some issues among the members that he solved. They always come to him for advice. I think at this stage he is crucial to solve some of the problems. He has many responsibility. I hope that also the governance team focus on the economic issue, because unfortunately the citizens don't feel the economic benefit of the GCC. I think for the next 5 years we should concentrate more on the benefit to the citizenship, so they can support the government, and we can overcome this difficult stage. You know, without citizens, it will take us longer to handle these so many crises, you know, politically, military, and so I hope they let the citizen engaged and feel that the GCC firstly is for them.
Dr. Mustapha Behbahani, we have actually run out of time. We thank you very much for joining us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived to the end of this hour's live coverage of the landmark visit of the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to the state of Kuwait. We would like again to thank our special guest this evening, Dr. Mustapha Behbahani, Director of Kuwait Gulf Group, for joining us on this program and sharing his vast knowledge on GCC issues. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching and have a very good night.